Hello everyone, I'm Wahyu Suganti Cahyani, and now I'm continuing the presentation, and it's about types of online learning and the characteristics. Okay, we have been knowing that online learning, also called as distance learning, where the teacher, when they are teaching, there is no limitation between the space and also the time. So since then, it becomes the a specification of how they do it live discussion in online way, and this becomes the types of online learning. There are three of them. The first one is synchronous learning, asynchronous learning, and blended learning. Later on, we are going to talk further about them one by one. Synchronous learning, according to Shahabadi and Uplin 2015, Amity 2020, and Chen et al. 2020, that synchronous learning is dealing with live and real-time and usually scheduled learning through video conference. And then Padmo et al. 2019, Shukri et al. 2019, Rasmita Dila et al. 2020, Martin et al. 2020, and Miller and Edward 2020 also define synchronous learning as a set of learning for students by teacher in a flexible and accessible learning through internet connection and technology. By that, then, can say that synchronous learning is basically an online learning which is focusing on online meeting with video conference use with live involvement of students. And the characteristics, including the success factors that are summarized for the synchronous learning. The first one is communication, and students' participation in communication are the concern of teachers. Yes, so how the students can contribute and can take participation in how the teachers conduct the live meeting through video conference, which then called as synchronous learning, it's really demanded. So then the learning happens two ways. It's not only teacher tells the students what to do, but also both sides can contribute and then participate in the meeting. Second one, it's a change to widen their experiences either in quality, mobility, and learning support. The learning support here, they will be given feedbacks as well, like how they have offline learning. And mobility, they can do it everywhere. They can do it in their own room in the house. And also the quality. So teachers design the teaching and also the planning for the students as the facilitation for their learning. Next. Synchronous learning was demanded to have instructions and virtual classroom readiness. Before the class conducted, it must be a moment where the teacher tells the students about the rules of the classroom, the rules of the meeting, what they have to do. Even the teachers can teach the students what they have to do, like how to use the application or the features on the application use. Assessment as a success factor needed to be conducted to assess both teachers and students. Well, this part is discussing about how the learning and the teaching occurs, how the teaching used, and also how the teaching conducted by the teachers in the classroom. It will be seen how effective it is for the students and how the students can show their progress while it's the online learning is conducted. So it both are assessed. So then you can like when you assess things, and then you know how successful it is. Then the internet can be used purposefully to succeed the learning in synchronous mode. Synchronous mode, it's live and then the teachers can directly see the students doing discussion and then answer and um, have a like a normal meeting. Here some applications can be used, like some learning sources can be used as well, like how the teacher shows video through YouTube and then display it to the students and share screens, and then how also the discussion can be done in the Zoom break rooms. Then it's purposefully used in the synchronous mode, since the technology and also the internet connection is really needed in this case. So that's why then it still can be said as accessible learning and also flexible learning, since they can do it at home. The second type is asynchronous learning, where it's defined as one of the online modes which prioritizes discussion chains. Instead of having live to live meeting, asynchronous learning it's requiring discussion. It's still in online way. Asynchronous learning is a virtual class which lets the student to learn in flexible times, where the tasks and also the materials can be accessed in 24/7, which is then it's timeless. Thus, asynchronous learning has accommodated the learning in mainly discussion session with flexible time to access it, with a chance of discussions and also the feedback also given in the comment columns. Let's go further about it. Here are the characteristics of asynchronous learning. The first one is it dominantly covers comments, suggestions, and discussions. So all the tasks are posted in a certain model or a certain learning application used by the teacher for the students to put all of the assignments and also learning materials there so the students can access it. Comments are posted, suggestions are posted, feedbacks are posted, is all there. Second one is participation from students and access learning independently. Since they are knowing that all of the materials are posted and available by the teachers, so it's really needed to trigger and to have our learning autonomy to do it by ourselves and to regularly check on it. Self-discipline and confidence when the task assigned in which the students were so diligent to check the deadlines. This is what I meant before, that self-discipline and confidence to always open the e-learning and then use the materials there and then able to work on the deadline on time and kind of like self-awareness to do it. The availability of students' activeness from the teaching strategies and activities. So the discussion must be also in fun ways and also innovative ways. So the students are eager to learn and are eager to open the e-learning. So then it's not boring for them to only have a discussion only. And then students' activeness, how much they can contribute comments, how much they can drop um, suggestions, how much they can drop their own opinion, and then access the ebook given and kind of reading online related. Construction of problem solving skill and deep thinking ability. It said that asynchronous learning provides more critical thinking activities instead of synchronous learning, which is a bit live. Yeah, it's live. Because they have time to think about the ideas and then they still can learn about it when they have a discussions. They are given times, they have times to think about it instead of the synchronous one. They just directly say it and then directly meet the teachers like this one through the screen, and then they also the experts say that it's better to have asynchronous learning instead of the synchronous learning because they have kind of like shock while they access it. Until then, blended learning is even said better. Why then? see the definition here. The blended learning itself can be said as a combination of synchronous and asynchronous learning in technology use for learning by considering the online learning emergency. So blended learning from the traditional or conventional classroom is switched and is shifted into online learning, where then the synchronous and asynchronous learnings are required. So it's not only live meeting, it's not only discussion without knowing the teacher's face and how they tell the materials. It's all combined, it's all mixed and blended. So then it's better learning. Second one, that asynchronous and asynchronous learning are used. Yeah, it's the same idea with the previous one. And it was designed for a specific learning purpose to have the materials and content access to improve students' participations. Later on, the benefits and also the challenges also will be explained by the friends. Um, so here it's really important to have a student's participation than their engagement. So that's why it's not only discussing things without knowing how ready they are when they have like a live meeting. So blended uh, provides both of them. The characteristics of blended learning. The roles of technology show quality of online learning, quality of sources used, and how to be literate in the 21st century learning skills. Yes, they are practiced to be more independent. Yes, they are practiced and then they are trained to be more um, having autonomous learning. Yes, and then they are trained to be having more um, critical thinking and also deep thinking. Yes, blended learning generates students' interest in learning, students' language skills, deep learning, and motivation on learning. They are not only given written feedbacks, but also live feedback, spoken one. And then online meeting is to make information needs as well as a forum for students to have discussion. That's the same explanation. And it starts as blended learning when the teachers can conduct synchronous and asynchronous mode in balance. Because then it implies self-directed learning and flexible discussion through online platforms, both video conference or discussion board. So basically, from those three types of online learning, either synchronous, asynchronous, and blended learning, teachers still can choose, and teachers still needs to consider the students' level and how much they can use blended, how much they can use asynchronous, also asynchronous. So, well, thank you so much. That's all from my part. Let's listen from the next part from the other friends. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.